Is Boohoo stock worth 85p? Today we're going to talk about two sensitive subjects. We're going to talk about Boohoo stock. Not too much focused on that, but we will be mentioning that a fair bit. And the other thing is going to be talking about analysts. Now, analysts are very interesting, and hopefully I'm going to share something with you here that kind of makes you look at analysts maybe slightly different if you don't look at it this view anyway. And certainly when I started investing into the stock market back in 2017, I kind of got analysts in the wrong way. I didn't really realise that analysts work like this until a few years afterwards. I always paid quite a lot of attention to analysts forecast their target prices, and then it wasn't until a few years afterwards that I realised that okay, actually maybe I shouldn't actually be considering these targets that much. Maybe that I need to be making my own targets, and they will be more reliable to where that company will be in a longer term point of view. So we're going to talk about that all today. So we'll take a look at this. Now, I'm sure most of you know, because you probably watch my videos, because I talk about Boohoo a fair bit. Boohoo has been in an awful downtrend. Now, this downtrend has basically come out of nowhere. There's been obviously highs and lows previously, but recently the recent dip since around February 2021 has been very aggressive and seen the stock lose 77% of the value, and now the stock is lower value than where it was back in, say, as far as this chart goes, the 3rd of March 2017. So you've had so much share price wiped out of this stock in the last 12 months. Crazy cheap valuations. Now, I'm not going to talk about Boohoo and what I think about Boohoo, but we're going to actually talk about analyst forecasts on Boohoo and talk about what they mean for Boohoo a little bit, but also what to consider with analyst forecast in general. So recently I was posting this on the Discord about this. If you do want to join, that link is in the description. I've also dropped an exclusive video on there yesterday on the Patreon as well, so do check that out if you are a member. But I was talking about analysts at the moment covering Boohoo. Now, this is Tip Ranks. I got a link for. I'm plugging a lot here. I've got a link for Tip Ranks in the description as well. So on Tip Ranks at the moment, I've gone on analyst forecasts. Now, if you look at analyst forecasts at the moment, there's currently 9 ratings on Boohoo. There's 6 buys, 2 hold, and 1 sell. So obviously that looks pretty positive, you would say. So you look at the average target price here, and you'll see that the average price target is £1.97, which is absolutely fantastic because you look there, 139% upside. So we look back on here, it's currently 82p, massive amounts of upside. And you can see here the average is, like we just said, £1.97. You can see the high is £4.30, and you can see the low is down here at 85p. Now you do look here at the 1 sell rating on here, that 1 sell rating obviously being the 85p. So if we do scroll down here onto Tip Ranks here, you can see all the analysts here. You can see when they actually they did their update on the price targets. So you got 7 days ago, 21 days ago, 22 days ago, last month, 2 months here. And we can actually see here that the recent sell has happened in the last 21 days. And this was a downgrade. And currently it's a 3.1% upside. So basically they are looking at the share price now, and obviously they brought it out a few days prior to it still carrying on dropping down, and basically went, it's probably going to go lower. There's not much upside in this stock. And you can see this is Emily Johnson here from Barclays. So if we do click onto Emily Johnson right now, you can see here that she actually only covers a few stocks. You can see here that she covers ASOS, which she has as a hold, but with 36% upside, and S4 Capital, 3 stocks I own, funny enough. I wonder if she's watching my YouTube channel here. But the S4 Capital was updated 10 months ago, and that was at £5.40 with 27% upside. But the most, this one here that we're going to talk about is Boohoo. Now, if we do look here, that she's actually covered this 13 times in her history on ratings on Boohoo. So let's go in a bit more further detail on her prediction here. So you can see here that her success rate is 50%. So basically it's red or black if she probably gets this correct or not. And her average return is 20%, which is actually still not too bad. And you'll notice something's really key here. Each rating is measured over a 1-year period. Now we're actually going to talk about that in a second here. Now if we do look at her ratings basically on Boohoo, you'll see here that she rated it a buy in April during the CV times, and basically the whole rally upwards, even at £4.12, she still rated it a buy. The stock drops, she was still rated a buy at £2.50, at £3.58, right again at the peak. That was pretty much the peak. Once again at a peak, she still rated it a buy. It dropped again. Same again, it got on a very good run, still a buy. And even on this downtrend, at £2.13, it's still a buy. Even at £1.45 on the 10th of December, when we kind of knew about some of the logistic issues, it was still rated a buy, and then boom, £1.07p was changed to a hold, and now it's been changed to at 95p a sell, a downgrade. So over all this period of time, even when this stock was on a very good run, even when the stock was putting new 52-week highs on, and potentially is when you want to be selling, it was still getting rated a buy by this analyst here. Now the key thing to remember is with analysts, this is one error that I made. I used to take a lot of these judgments by analysts quite serious when I first started investing. Like I said at the start of the video, it wasn't until a while of investing that I actually realized that a lot of analyst forecasts are based off what we said here. Each rating is measured over a 1 year period. A lot of analyst forecasts are based on a 12-month time period. So basically what you might see with a stock, for example, what might happen is, let's just take let's just say it's a $60 stock, for example. If an analyst is bullish on that stock, they might say, oh, in 12 months time, I can see this going to $75. If they're probably bearish on the stock, what they're going to be doing is they're going to be saying it's going to go to, $50, for example. And that's what will happen. Now, in that time frame, let's say that stock goes down from $60 down to, $30 here. Now, if you're still bullish on a stock, what a lot of analysts will do is, because they're basing off a 12-month period, they will realize that, okay, I'm still bullish on the stock, but the chances of it getting to $75 in the next 12 months is pretty impossible. So even though I'm bullish on the stock, what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to downgrade my... So if you see a lot of stocks drop, this is what you'll see with a lot of earnings when earnings come out, and if they drop off earnings or if they jump on earnings, this is why they always change so much. It's because even if the analyst is bullish on a stock and that price target is $75, they know it. If it's gone down to $30, there's no way that more than likely that stock in the next 12 months is going to get up to $75. So you'll see even analysts that are bullish will go, okay, I'm going to change that to, $50. And then what you'll see is that the analysts that were negative on the stock will go, oh, well, I'm still negative on the stock, so I'm going to put this down to, $15 now. And this is what a lot of analysts will do with their price targets. They are trying to target where that stock will be in 12 months' time. Now, also, this is where the really tricky thing comes in from an analyst point of view compared to what I do, or probably what a lot of you guys do. A lot of you guys will probably be looking at this from a longer time frame. You're probably looking at 3-5 years, maybe even longer than that, and not 12 months like a lot of these analysts are doing. And the big tricky thing with a lot of these analysts is that, like I said, they're predicting it off 12 months. And realistically, they're trying to predict where these prices are going, but that is so hard to do. That, we talk about, trying to predict the market where it's going to be in a week's time or 1 month's time. That's nearly impossible, but even a year is pretty tricky. So for example, at the moment, Boohoo, a lot of other stocks are, absolutely getting created. We're in a stock market correction, depending where you look. Some markets are in bear territory now. If we go back to 12 months ago, where we were at a bull market. So if we look at a cycle of a stock chart, at the moment, we're down here. 12 months ago, where were we? We're up here. Now, 12 months ago, would you have thought we would have gone from there down to here? No. And that's what can happen so quickly in the stock market, and that's why it's even hard in 12 months' time to predict where the share prices are going to go. And same again, if we go from 12 months from where we're at in February 2021, let's say if we go back to February 2020, we were kind of entering this cycle down here. And same again, if you go back to February 2020 at the start of what would have been, the pandemic going on, you probably wouldn't have thought, okay, we're entering a massive pandemic. This is going to cause a lot of problems in the world. It's going to damage so many economies. You won't think in 12 months' time we'll be having an absolute boom where stocks are valued at, double what they were at. So that's an example of what can happen in 12 months. You wouldn't have thought that in February 2020, before the pandemic, we would have gone up here. And then when we get to February 2021, you probably wouldn't have thought, okay, I can't see us going into a bear market from here. And then boom, we go down here. And this is the problem with a lot of these analysts that cover a lot of stocks, is that there's a lot of guesswork going on. When it's a 12-month time frame, you're pretty much trying to see where the momentum's going, basically, and then you just basically go down. If you're bullish on a stock, you're probably going to put it a little bit higher. If you're bearish on a stock, you're going to put it a bit lower. And this is why when the stock prices actually move, a lot of the analysts play catch up to where that stock price is going, because they're trying to predict it over a 12-month period, which is obviously quite short term and quite risky as well. And that's why you see a lot of these analysts for example, that have a 50% success rate, because it's quite hard to do that. And it kind of shows you why as well, that there's some problems with the mentality in the stock market. You know, you look at a stock here and you think like a Boohoo, for example, and I don't want to get too much talking about Boohoo and a deep dive on that stock again, but you look at here and you think, okay, you're willing to take this stock at £4.12, and then it goes down to 95p, and now you're rating it a sell, and you're thinking, okay, the stock's at such low valuations, maybe this is where you should be buying. You know, the dips is probably where you want to be buying at the lowest valuations, rather than buying at these 52-week highs. And sometimes this is what a lot of Wall Street do. They kind of chase what's hot. You know, they're looking at what's putting, you know, in good momentums. You know, ideally, you know, some of these calls are right at £1.68. That's where you want to be buying, not buying up here at, you know, the £3.50s, £3.58s, the £4.12s. You know, the ones you want to be buying is the dips here. This is normally where you are a lot more successful in buying stocks, and looking at that from a longer time frame, like I said, which a lot of Wall Street lacks, and that's what you got to be careful with a lot of these ratings sometimes. So I thought I'd just talk about that, use that against Boohoo, and just a bit talk about analysts as well, which I've seen a lot of change in price targets recently, and especially this one covering Boohoo at the moment. So I hope that video was a little bit useful, a little bit different. Not really talked about this subject before on the channel anyway, so hopefully there was some useful information there. If you could hit the like button if you're new, subscribe, and I'll see you next video.